my fellow Americans, Mr. President, members of Congress. My name is Albert Torcaso, and I'm the host of Humanity Matters. And I would like to give a little message to the President of the United States, to members of the Congress, and to our fellow Americans. Mr. President, I want to ask you and the Democratic members of Congress to not retreat on getting universal health care or health care reform with a strong public option. I realize that politically there were some upsets lately and that it may be high anxiety, but I also want to ask independent members of the Senate and Congress, and also Republicans, all of you, I would ask you that you would remember how vitally important healthcare in America is for many Americans. And Mr. President, members of Congress, I want you to understand that this healthcare bill will change the lives of millions of Americans. It will improve lives, and it will prevent 45,000 deaths every year solely due to lack of healthcare access. But for my fellow Americans in Congress, I want you to understand that the disabled American many times wants to get out there and be a productive citizen. Many of them want to work full-time, but they can't because they get some type of health care, but it is provided by the state. If they reach a certain limit financially, they will lose that health care. And because they do have pre-existing conditions, they cannot get that health care by any private insurance. Thus, they are trapped in the system of either being on disability, Social Security, SSI, or some other type of program. They are trapped literally into poverty. And let us remember that there are disabled Americans that would be considered up to 550% below the federal poverty line. There are also disabled Americans that are about 300% below the poverty line and up to about 150. But many of our fellow Americans who are disabled are among the poorest in America. This healthcare reform bill needs to have the public option reinstated. So I'm calling on President Barack Obama, Senator Harry Reid, I'm calling on Nancy Pelosi, I'm calling on newly elected Senator-elect Scott Brown, and every member of Congress, whether you are Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I'm asking you to pass a health care bill in 2010 because lives matter. It's that simple. Lives matter. Now, for everyone who's in fear of the healthcare bill, let me tell you something. This healthcare bill is going to help our economy. This healthcare bill is going to save lives. And most important, this healthcare bill is going to eventually save us almost $1 trillion. So, I want to ask Congress to please pass this bill. Please do not let it fail. And I'm going to ask the President and Nancy Pelosi and Senator Harry Reid and all members of Congress, regardless of your political party, please pass a bill and either have a strong public option or at the very least make it a law that no private insurance company can deny you coverage because of a pre-existing condition, that no insurance company can drop you once you get sick, and that no insurance company can allow you to be in that insurance company, but the costs are so extensive that you can't afford it. It's time for you, the members of Congress, and every American to get behind true healthcare reform. And I could say more, but instead of me saying more, let me just say this. This is the time to be daring. This is the time to be bold. This is the time to pass real health care reform in America to save lives. And one other thing to all members of Congress. The election in Massachusetts was not won because the people of Massachusetts was against the health care bill. The election in Massachusetts was won because there was no action on the health care bill. You did not pass it. If you pass this bill, your election results will be more favorable in the fall of 2010 if you pass this bill. The American people are tired of waiting. We've waited for more than 70 years, way before I was born, and millions of Americans have died as a result. We are tired of waiting. We want a health care bill that has a strong public option, but at the very least, we want certain provisions. Now, it's up to you, Mr. President, to not back down. It's up to you, members of the Democratic Party and Congress, to not back down. And it's up to you, members of the Republican Party, to be bold. And if it means breaking with other members of your party in favor of your fellow Americans' lives, this is what you must do. This is what you must do. We must have the health care bill, the health care reform bill passed in 2010. And those who vote in favor of it will do well at the election polls. Those who block it or make it fail will do very poorly in 2010. This is my prediction. And you may not agree with me, America, but I believe you do. You may not agree with me, Republican members of Congress, Democratic members of Congress, or independent members of Congress. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my email address just in case someday in the future you happen to see this video and someday in the future you want to directly email me. You can do that. actorcasomedia.com. That's actoraj@torcasomedia.com. Mr. President, all members of Congress, let me leave you with this. Passing this health care reform bill is the right thing to do. It is a brave thing to do. And those who say yes to it are going to do very well in this election cycle coming up in 2010.